Let's have a look. Right, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the United Way. Today we have a special guest on, one of a kind, who is Double A. I'm sure many know him, maybe from being on the United Stands a few times, so UTV, and obviously his own channel as well. We do have the links to his socials in the description as well. But Double A, how's things, mate?
Yeah, not bad, mate. We were saying just before we went live. Other than United, everything's decent, mate. It's just you just hope the football team and the football they were playing was a little bit better. But no, other than that, everything's good. And like I said, mate, appreciate the invite to come on. Happy to come and talk United as always. Always something to talk about, as we know.
Definitely. I mean, I can't think of a day, especially since, you probably know yourself, since starting doing My United content or whatever you do, there's never been a day where you said, you know what, I haven't really talked about Man United today. Every day it's just been talking about Man United. I'm not sure whether that's good or bad. Last season it was good. This season, no.
A lot more bad than good this season for sure. Unfortunately, going off the back of last season, how great, because it's on and off in it. So 21-22 is absolutely terrible, and then the manager comes in and gives us a good season and something to build on. One trophy, one final, Champions League football again, and you start to believe, don't you? You start to think maybe we're gonna get back to climbing the table and being a little bit more of a competitive team, and then wheels are falling off on the again, which we're kind of used to with this team, this club under the current ownership. But we just have to keep supporting, mate. We have to keep telling the stories. We have to keep talking about the club because, unfortunately, you can't change your club once you choose to support one. Unfortunately, well, some people do. Obviously, I know. I'm sure there's some Chelsea fans that have switched to City after the last couple of years. But for us, for the United fans, obviously growing up, supporting, I'll still say it, it's the biggest club in the world for me. I'm never going to change that. And the last 10 years, going as a season ticket holder, kind of in a weird way, it kind of proves how much you actually love United. Like, you can't say you're a glory hunter if you're paying to watch Moyes, Mourinho near the end, Ole near the end, and what we're going through now. It kind of shows, you are loyal. You do love this football club through the good and the bad. It's just now time. We just need 10 years of bad. We need some good to start coming through, mate.
Exactly. I mean, speaking about, how loyal. I mean, if you want to, the best, I always say, if you want to get with someone, get with Man United fan, because they're the most loyal people out there. I mean, you can't say it always. I mean, It doesn't matter how bad they play. After every game, you get people saying, I'm not watching this team again. And then, come Saturday or Sunday when you're playing, you're like, no, I can't wait for today. And then, again, you set yourself up for failure. But look, like you said, when you love, if you love a club so much, you're never going to change your mind. But like you said, unless you support Chelsea, but then fair enough.
I agree. But yeah, it's one of them, mate. It's like you say. So the weekend you have a bad result, and you're kind of giving it. Oh, I can't be bothered. I'd rather do something else with my weekend. Spend time with my girlfriend, spend time with my kids, whatever. And then you start to get the Friday, the press conference, and you start, right, come on, draw you back in. You just draw you back in every single time. And, more often than not, we're seeing they are letting us down, but we wouldn't have it any other way, would we? Do you know what I mean? It's football. It's how it is. And that's why we love it, essentially.
Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster. It is, isn't it?
Absolutely. Oh, man. Of course.
Like, I've done the watch long. I do watch long on the channel. I done one on Sunday for the game against Tottenham, and I was up for. I don't think I could have been any more hyped. And after the match, I was like, seriously, I actually felt like we lost.
Yeah.
But look, it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure you're at that game on Saturday, and I'm sure you were definitely disappointed, or maybe you did take the point, but I personally wasn't happy with the result.
No, I was really disappointed, mate. Really disappointed because you look at. We kind of are going through form in a minute, win, loss, and you're kind of hoping it's all hope now. You're hoping that the tide's going to turn, the team are going to click that with the manager. It's all going to come cohesive, and we're going to start to see not only results but good performances, and that's what we're begging for the most. We want to see some good, sustainable football. The football we've been playing isn't sustainable, and I think that's showing when we come up against good teams who have good tactics, and good authority, and they trust in the identity that the manager's putting out there. When we come up against those teams, it's when Manchester United are struggling this season, and we just kind of want the tide to turn in our favour for a little bit. And I think we're getting labelled like 20-minute FC right now, and I think it was very much the case on Sunday. We started out the traps really quick. I don't think Spurs expected us to hit them so quickly, and obviously we get the goal, and then it all just disappears from there and evaporates. And they could have just looked at the pattern of our season, and on Friday, Saturday, the manager, all Spurs manager had to say to him was, they can't defend set pieces. They fall asleep. They fall asleep straight after the start of the second half, and they don't track midfield runners. And all three of those things led to their 2 goals on Sunday. So, that's the disappointing thing, because we're not learning and we're not rectifying these mistakes that obviously keep happening game after game. And therefore, obviously, it's leading to frustration within the fan base. Sunday for me was one of the lowest I've seen Old Trafford for. Well, obviously not last season, because last season was great, and I think there was some joy back at being at Old Trafford again. I think the fans were really, personally for me, meeting up with other, YouTubers and friends, going well before kickoff, an hour and a half. Where the season before, you're meeting up, you just get into the ground 10 minutes before, get into your seat, go and watch the game, and that's kind of creeping back in now. And I think the crowd were really low, and I've spoke to Spurs fans and seen Spurs fans saying they couldn't believe how flat Old Trafford was, and how the fans just didn't see they were capable of, getting behind the team, and it was quite quiet. And I think that's just obviously a knock-on effect from the performances and what we're seeing from the players. And it's only going to cost one person his job, and that's Erik ten Hag, I think. And yeah, like I said, we probably will touch on it all and stuff like that. But I think for that, we don't play for a couple of weeks. I know we've got the FA Cup game and stuff, but like I say, it's all hope. We're just hoping now that this manager can start to turn the tide and have a good, strong finish to the season, because that's what we need. Because you say no Europe, we've only got the FA Cup really to fight for now, and trying to see how far we can get up in the league. That's pretty much where we're at, and it's sad to say that in January as a United fan.
It is. I mean, I know they always say, the league doesn't end in January, but for us, it's not looking great. So, I mean, if I could press the button right now to end the season, I'd end up breaking the button, to be honest with you. I just want to get it done and dusted. I mean, I actually had high hopes for us this season, but then, like I said to you earlier, we set ourselves up for failure. And look, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we're saying, the coming off the back of last season, and as much as it ended on a sour note, losing to City and then going and doing the treble, there was obviously signs of hope. There was encouragement there, turning around the form of Rashford, of Shaw. Pretty much, I think the only player that he didn't improve last season or didn't get a tune out of was Sancho. He's the only player I think that's not done enough. Even Dalot, I'm not a fan of Dalot, but Dalot was good for half the season. Wan-Bissaka came back from the dead and ended up becoming the first choice right back. And Mason Mount, Bruno, everyone was performing. Garnacho was showing the class that he has, and I think there was so much encouragement, and it was just a case of the players we bring in now need to build onto that. And for me, apart from Højlund, who was a person and a player that I'd liked previous and was really excited to come into the club, I think any other signing in the summer has just been, an absolute letdown. Onana, he's not for me. I don't think he's barely even a very good keeper. Never mind a great keeper, and we need a great keeper. And I think it's proving now. And you see the whole mess of him going to AFCON, missing the first game, just pissing around really, and messing. Not only just messing, and disrespecting his country and a major international tournament, he's also messing Manchester United around, because now Ten Hag has to deal with Bayern, who's probably going to be an unhappy player who's just coming in the summer, and is a keeper that Ten Hag wanted previously at Ajax to replace Onana. So what's that? 25-year-old international thinking how am I meant to get a game when the keeper ahead of me is going away on international duty, but you're begging for him to stay for 2 games where we didn't need him? So it just seems like this is just so many issues that didn't need to be caused, and poor recruitment has led to sort of disharmony, I think, within the group, within the team, and then we've seen obviously what's happened with Sancho, and then Rashford's form absolutely dropping off a cliff, and him looking back to the 21-22 Rashford, and then for me showing his fragile ego, having to come out and defend himself against tweets and social media and the media in general, where in that instance it's probably best to say nothing and let your football do the talking. That's what we want to see, because that's what you're paid to do. I don't need you to tweet and defend yourself. Like the reaction he's getting to that celebration is because it's misguided. It's I've been saying all week, it's sort of like Maguire 2.0 when Maguire scored against Albania and he was giving it all this. That's what Rashford's celebration is to me. It's like, mate, if you've scored 10 games in a row or scored and assisted 10 games in a row, you're well within your right to start giving it all this and start giving that. Once you scored your first goal at Old Trafford since May last year, I think you need to just keep yourself a bit quiet, build your performances up, build the goals, build that confidence back up in your play, and then you can start to give it back a little bit. It's like I say, it's fragile egos, and unfortunately, a lot of modern footballers seem to be like that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that celebration, because obviously I didn't actually see him do that until I seen it after the match, and I thought, like, why? Like, I mean, like you said, last season fair enough, but this season, like, I mean, just pipe down and just focus on trying to put the ball in the back of the net and actually track back and do what you're meant to do.
This is it, man, and that's what the best players in the world do. Like, a lot of people say it, but Mo Salah wouldn't act like that. Kevin De Bruyne, Haaland gives it a bit out, like he was giving it to United fans, but that's understandable. But these big players, when they go through sticky bits of form, it's they don't show defiance by being petty. Do you know what I mean? It's I'll show you how good I am by scoring and being important to my team and putting in performances that show you that why I am the number one player in my team. And that's what Rashford's apparently meant to be. He's meant to be the franchise player, the Manchester boy, come good, the face of Manchester United. Prove it on the pitch and actually prove it with your body language. Like, being fortunate enough to have a season ticket and go every single game. He plays on the left. Obviously, I get to see him where I sit, quite close up, and his body language stinks, mate. And it's something's going on. Something's clearly fundamentally wrong for him to he's fall off a cliff and go back to 2 seasons ago. Screams to me something's fundamentally not right. Whether that's he's not happy at the club, he doesn't like what happened to his friend, or he just doesn't want to play for this manager. It has to be somewhat along those lines for me, looking at it from the outside, because you'd care a little bit more, you'd show a little bit more fight, a little bit more willing, a little bit more endeavour, a little bit more drive, and effort. And when those things are all lacking, you can't just tell me it's because you are trying, because it doesn't look like you are. And yeah, it's a worrying one for Rashford, and the calls are now coming for him to go, and I think I think it'd be a good time. It's never going to happen. I'm not naive enough to think it's going to happen because of the contract, because of how he's thought of at Manchester United, and probably only escape is going to be PSG if Mbappe goes to Real Madrid. Probably the only club that could pay for him. But I would like to see the end of this Rashford saga, because it's a bit boring, really, for me, and I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is. And a lot of people now saying, well, he could be a good squad player, but have you ever heard of a squad player on 375 grand a week? No, I haven't, for sure. So I don't see that ever going to happen for 5 years. He's going to stick around. So it's a sticky one with Rashford. I expect him to stay, but if it's Ten Hag or someone else that comes in, they really need to start to find how they can get him consistent and utilize him the best way they can. Whether that can happen, I'm quite skeptical on that. But just to touch on the celebration as well, he's come out and said it. No, it's because people were talking about me replying to a Sancho thing and all that. I don't believe that. And he said that's obvious. Well, no, because anyone in the ground thinks you're doing it because people are having a go at you for not playing well. That's what looks obvious. And again, the same thing. Like you talk to Sancho every day on the phone. I guarantee you've got his number. You know how perception is going to look if you're commenting on a social media post. Yes, it's petty. Yes, people shouldn't care. But in this new media age, people care. People will write stories to get clicks off your name when you do something that looks like you're going against your club. Like text him and say buzzing for you and all that. But just don't do it. Like it's not going to hurt you to not comment on his post. He's not going to fall out with you. He's not going to stop talking to you. It's just these little things that you could maybe think not to do that gets people off your back, especially when you're not playing well. Like if you were playing well and you did it, I don't think anyone would give a crap. The fact you're not playing well, the team's not playing well, you're meant to be the number one player. When you do things like that in such a sticky situation, which is Ten Hag versus Sancho, just try and stay out of it. Because, even Benny McCarthy doing it, just stay out of it and just don't involve yourselves because it's a fractious situation in the fan base, Sancho. It's causing, this Sancho in, Sancho out almost more than there is Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out at the minute. So for me personally, I stand on it. I'd rather not see Sancho come back. I think he's disrespected the club, disrespected the fans. And once you do that, I don't think there's a way back in the club for me. So I personally would like him to go. But then I think it's one of them where you don't need the players to add on to that and involve themselves in doing things like this, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I just think I agree with you about Sancho as well. I wouldn't want them back. I mean, look, is there a way for him to come back? Maybe if Ten Hag's not the manager come the summer, you never know. I really hope he doesn't, though. Obviously, Jibril, I think I'm saying his name right, Akalapa, Ten Hag out. I mean, look, we will definitely get stuck into that, and there's a lot of Ten Hag out. I'm sure there's a lot of Rashfords out as well. Double A, MFC Global says smash the like and subscribe. Exactly, and follow Double A's links to his socials are in the description as well, so I got over there. And MFC Global also says, I think Ten Hag is not really a problem. Again, we'll get stuck into that also in a few minutes. Again, it's like Man United. Everyone has an opinion, but look, we'll get stuck into a bit of transfer news. I wouldn't say there's a lot, but there's a bit. I mean, we kind of have to fade it out because we probably won't sign anyone this January transfer window. But a bit of news coming out about Joshua Zirkee. He plays for Bologna. Yes, yeah, or Bologna, whatever. So obviously, Man United have inquired about a possible transfer for Joshua Zirkee now, but I'm going to let you say it.
Bologna,
Bologna weren't ready to let him go. He can leave in the summer. He has a release clause of around £35 million. Joshua Zirkee is a serious transfer target of Man United in the summer. Early talks have taken place. I mean, Double A, again, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really know much about the lad, I'll admit. But would he be, like, can you see us getting him, or would you be open to us buying him?
Yeah, I'll admit the same, mate. I'm not someone who's watched him loads. I know of him from his Bayern Munich days. I think he's been there since the youth, and he played for Bayern Munich too, then Bayern Munich. I don't think it was the same time that Ten Hag was there, but I know he's Dutch as well, so there's obviously that Dutch connection with Ten Hag. Yeah. But I don't know if it's got sort of he knows of him from scouts or people that he's still in touch with from when he was at Bayern Munich, and that's probably why he fancies him. For me, like, again, it's similar to the Højlund issue, if you can call it an issue. Young player, still finding his way in the game. I think he's scored 9 goals in 34 games for Bologna. Very similar to Højlund, and Højlund gets that thrown against him. So for me, do Manchester United need another 20-year-old striker? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? We've got one already. We need to go and get someone established, someone who is ready to come straight into the team. Because the last thing Manchester United want to be doing is relying on 2 20-year-old strikers. Like, if it was Messi, Ronaldo, yeah, that's different. when you got two up and coming young strikers, 20 years old, you're throwing two kids in the deep end there, and you know you need that experience. Where are Hoyland and Zirkee gonna be learning from? You know, that experienced striker ahead of them that can teach them certain moments in games, how to move, movement in the box, finding space, you know, and just becoming seasoned professionals in a forward line. You know, sadly for Manchester United, you know, it doesn't seem like that's going to be struggling to get someone in January to even do it. You know, not that I wanted him, but apparently the rumours that when they heard it would be 5 million euros to loan Werner, we walked away. Like, kind of shows you the problem at Manchester United and how skint we actually are. And you know, I won't be surprised if it was Choupo-Moting, unfortunately, that comes in on loan, and that you know, ex Stoke striker. What are we doing? Like, what are we actually playing at? If that's the limit to who we can bring in to try and help Hoyland. But as good as a young player he is, and Manchester United might have some concrete interest in him, he's not the right profile, I don't think. Like I say, we need someone 25 to 28, that experience that's going to come in straight away and not only challenge Hoyland, but also help him in many other ways in the game. And, you know, it's a dream, but the Benzema link that we had last week, that would be perfect. I know in terms of the profile, obviously I know the stupid amount of money is on £1 million a week or whatever it is. Never going to happen and come on a loan to Manchester United. But, you know, that even for 6 months, imagine a player of the quality of Benzema coming in and not only helping Hoyland, he would have a big effect on both Rashford, Antony, Garnacho, Ahmad, all our wide players, because he's a leader. So he's absolutely going to tell them if they're doing something wrong. Get the ball into the box to me and I will score goals. Stop messing around. Stop being greedy. Stop looking out for yourself. Pass and move. Look for the space. Look to create, and I will get you goals. And you need to do the same for Hoyland as well. I think, you know, there's that story of him coming out against Vinicius Jr. and saying, you know, he's playing against us. And there was a bit of a spat there that Ancelotti had to sort of fix between those two. But he's doing it for the good of the team. And when you get a player of that level that's doing things for the team, and he's not, you know, there's criticism against Ronaldo that he only does things for himself because he's interested in his own numbers and he wants to be the star man, which obviously he has been for most of his career. But I don't think Benzema's like that. I think, yes, strikers are selfish. Yes, strikers just want to score goals. But I think, you know, given that I think he has the benefit of the team in mind, on the forefront of his mind every single time. And I think that's what he looks to do more often than not. So that's the type of player we need to get in. And if it's not going to be a Benzema, which it definitely won't, it needs to be someone similar to that who holds high esteem in world football and is a goal scorer, because we miss having an out-and-out goal scorer. It's really, really sad that we don't have one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Benzema, I actually was up for that, believe it or not. But literally, what you said there was the reason why I wanted him. Yeah. I'm looking at Robbie again. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, well, not a lot, but a good few people don't want them. But I'm like, so again, I see, you know, you're seeing a lot of, you know, Tony and, you know, again, maybe good player, but, you know, can he get us to that next level? I mean, I don't know.
It's a risk in it, and the money that Brentford would want. Like, I could see him going to an Arsenal and doing really well. I think with Manchester United, where we are, as much I would take him, don't get me wrong, but for 100 million or whatever they want, stupid money, it's not a risk United can take, especially when they just spent 70 odd on Hoyland. But we like you say, Benzema, mate, there's so many. The pros outweigh the cons, like, unbelievably for me. There's just no, you know, forget his reputation or whatever. Like, and everyone's like, yeah, he's 30 odd. He can't even do it in the Saudi league. He's clearly not happy there. He's not turning up for training. He's clearly gone there and realised money's probably not everything. Coming to the end of my career, I should have stayed in Europe. Which a lot of the players are doing. Jordan Henderson, Neves has been linked with a move back. Even Jota went there and straight away wanted to come back. You know, it's proving that money's not everything. And you know, when a career is so short in football, play to the highest level you can until, you know, they have to drag you off the pitch, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Benzema for me, I know it's a dream, and I know it's never going to happen. But the thought of a player like that coming into this Manchester United team when we need leaders in the front, in the front areas. You got to remember, like probably our most senior player up top is like Martial and Rashford, and both of them aren't good enough for me to be starting for Manchester United. So we're in real trouble up that end of the pitch, and we're relying on kids, and then the kids, are still learning the game themselves. And then when they don't put in 10 out of 10s every week, they're getting then called not good enough. And it's like they're still learning the game. And, people then start throwing, well, if you're old enough, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And it's like, that's not always the case. And, some players develop at different ages. Some people need help. Some players take a little bit more time. And you can't just lump everyone into the Ronaldo, Messi and Rooney categories, because they're generational talents that come around once in a blue moon. And it's a shame that we're in a situation where we're having to rely on kids and we have no money to get players in of the right level to help these youngsters out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even you saying that our two senior players up top is Martial and Rashford just wants to it just makes you want to get sick.
Yeah, mate.
I mean, like Benzema would do there, like for 6 months, which more likely would probably be it. I mean, look, yeah, I know I may have said in the past, we shouldn't be signing strikers who are over this age and that age, but with Benzema, I mean, come on, surely, we can at least come to an agreement with Benzema. I mean, like 6 months, it's not a permanent. I mean, we have Weghorst last season. I think he only scored 2 goals or something like that. I think Betis, I think it was, he scored, and I think he nearly cried or something like that.
Yeah, for Old Trafford, and he scored. Didn't he? He scored against Forest in the League Cup.
Yeah,
place. But it's like you compare Weghorst and Igalo to Benzema. There's no competition, and you'll take a 34-year-old Benzema over those two, because for me, he's still got what was it last season? He scored 19 goals in La Liga last season. Like, he's still clearly a top class striker, and I don't believe he's gone to Saudi and he's fallen off a cliff. I just think he's not happy there. Like, if Ronaldo can still go out there and score goals, I'm pretty sure Benzema can do the same thing. I just think it's a case of he's clearly just realised it's not for him, which it's that you're allowed to do that. But yeah, I've not actually said that about the Rashford and Martial thing until literally just now, mate. And realising it is quite sad. It like you say, it makes me want to shed a tear, I think, a little bit.
I mean, Benzema would make us a lot more of a threat up top as well, I think.
Oh, big time.
I mean, no disrespect to Højlund, but again, he scored a good goal on Sunday. I'll happily admit that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he scored so far this season for us since he came was like 7, 5 in the Champions League, and I think 2 in the Prem.
In the league. Yeah.
I mean, look, it's not great when we're into the second half of the season, is it? And a Benzema there would just, I'm not saying he'd come in and, light the world on fire, but he'd offer us a lot more. And, it could be the help that, like you said, Garnacho, Ahmad, Pellistri, Højlund. I mean, I'm not sure whether Rashford would be interested in any advice, but it's always worth taking a bit. It could help us, it could. I mean, I'm not saying it will, but absolutely. I think it'd be just brilliant if we could bring
massive, mate. Like you look at if Højlund was to come into a Man City, say, or a Liverpool, 20-year-old striker, they obviously wouldn't pay what we pay, so the 73 million wouldn't be held against him. If he ends this season with 10 goals, if he did that in a Man City team where he wasn't expected to start and lead the line, he's had a good season. He's not only finding his way into the team, he's finding his way into the league and still into the game at 20 years old. So it is bad because he's having to play so many games. But we know our forward players are greedy and don't look for him. He had the least passes as a striker in the league this season. We're not looking to create chances for him, and if it wasn't for like a muddle up in the box yesterday on Sunday, I don't think that ball from Rashford goes to him either. So, for me, Højlund is massively void of criticism in terms of how we're having to rely on him so much this season when we shouldn't. You know, it should have been him and an experienced striker in the summer, and he can bed him in easily, nice and easy, games here, games there, and then find his way into the team. The only thing I not criticize him on, but obviously can speak on is, you know, there's a lot of improvements to still do there. You know, watching him, you know, he always seems to be on an odd occasion. I think it was a great ball by Garnacho on Sunday from the right hand side, and he just seems like he's always a yard behind. So that, you know, them strikers that run to the goal to get on the end of the ball, he needs to learn that a little bit more. I think, you know, if he's a yard closer to the goal, but that ball Garnacho, he's got a free header, and that's happened a few times this season. So little bits of his game, but again, he's 20 years old and he will learn and he will get better. But then again, I don't think the coaching's helping. I don't think Benny McCarthy's really doing his job. And, you know, we really do need to look to improve our coaching and bringing people in is something I think United should definitely be looking at doing. And, it may not work, but the amount of ex-strikers United have, some that are coaching, some that aren't, that could come in. You know, Van Nistelrooy's over at Feyenoord. Not Van Nistelrooy. Van Persie's over at Feyenoord. Go and grab him and bring him to Manchester United. Andy Cole, I'm sure he's done his badges. Go and get him and bring him to Manchester United. Dwight York, go and get him. Rooney's not out of a job. Go and get him and bring him to Manchester United. Van Nistelrooy's out of a job at the moment. He may want to be a manager, but go and get him and bring him into the club. All these strikers we could be bringing in to helping our forward players is ridiculous. And I've been saying all week, like, you know, Dortmund have gone and brought in 2 ex-players. Now it's Sahin and Bender have come in to try and help the first team. And obviously they went and won on the weekend and that. So, you know, teams are doing it. It's not always about sack the manager and bring someone else in. Why don't we try and help the manager first? See if there's anything we can do in terms of bringing coaches in, anything we can change in the coaching, and just to add something different, maybe a different set of eyes to look at something and say, well, maybe that's not working here. Let's try this here. And, you know, bringing more experienced people in to help certain situations and departments, especially the forward line. So for me, I'd like to see something like that. Maybe if, you know, Jim Radcliffe is going to look at everything, that's something he could try and implement quick as soon as this sort of deal is finalised. As long as, you know, obviously the football structure is looked at as well. But yeah, it's worrying how bad we are in terms of coaching, and I think that's definitely something that needs one of the biggest shake-ups with this whole restructuring that's looking like it's going to take place.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't look like we're kind of going anywhere at the moment, does it? Scoring goals, and you're going in and you're thinking, I mean, Wigan last week, like, you know, should be beating them more, you know, with 2-0. A goal from Dallow and a penalty from Bruno. I mean, some say that maybe it wasn't a penalty, but look, it's behind us now. We progress. But again, I mean, I said something like you did not too long ago about, you know, look at, you know, White York and, you know, Van Persie and, you know, them kind of people just to come in. And I mean, they definitely, they would be decent help. I mean, having the experience and help of them, you know, strikers who are brilliant for us.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't see why we don't, you know, do things like this.
Yeah,
like, you know, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure if Liverpool were struggling, they'd bring in a brilliant, you know, former striker. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. One of them two. And, you know, we just, like, we have strikers who are quality and, well, obviously retired.
Yeah.
And we don't give it a go. I mean, it's always worth the go. There's no point sitting there saying, it might not work. You don't know. We haven't tried it yet. You know,
give it a try. Can't be any worse than what we're already at. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's definitely worth trying something new for sure.
I mean, look, unless we just start Robin Van Persie against Wolves, I mean, why not? I'm sure I'm off. Well, yeah, maybe he probably would still do a job for us. But then, you know, this Zirkee guy. I mean, look, to be honest with you, I can't really see us bringing him in. You know, we may bring him in. You know, we have talks with him, but
yeah,
I personally don't get the gist behind it at all. To be really honest with you, and like you said, he is Dutch. I mean, whatever Ten Hag's suggestion is, with, you know, players from Ajax or Dutch, I don't really know. But look, can you see me, you know, bringing in a striker, you know, this January transfer window, whether it's on loan, or can you see us just sticking with Hoyland and Martial?
Well, so at first, obviously, the rumors were coming out saying it depends on outgoing. So obviously, but that was Martial going. Obviously, he's in the last 6 months of his contract now. So obviously, you can talk to clubs abroad about a move in the summer if he's going to go for free. Now he's saying he's going to sit tight. He's not being picked in the squad. Apparently, he's been ill for a couple of months now.
What illness is that?
Well, yeah, it's one of them, isn't it, mate? It's clearly it's saying that Ten Hag don't want him. Ten Hag saying, I'm not going to pick you, so it's probably best that you go. But he obviously he's not bothered. He's going to get his money and leave on a free, which liked Martial for the first couple of years. Last 3 or 4 years, I've been kind of wanting him to leave, to be fair. And finally we'll get rid of Martial FC at the club, which is at least one win, I think. But if he doesn't go, do we get someone in? It's worrying, mate, because the fact, I said we walked away from Werner because it was €5 million for the fee, kind of tells you where we are, and it really is, sort of bargain basement deals. I think I can't see anything other now than probably Choupo-Moting, and apparently even Bayern are saying no, we want you to stay. So there's a high chance we stay with what we've got, and then if that is the case, that again, I think we really do struggle at the back end of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a comment there. I'm not going to read out the name, but he says, I think we should sign Ben's bit alone. I mean, look, me and Double A, definitely agree with you on that one. But will you bring him in? I doubt we will. I think we're just kind of, living in hope at the moment. And it just goes to show how low we are. I'm not saying Benzema's, but, we want to bring in a Benzema to, revive us. But again, Tony, Washington, do you think Manchester United will sign a striker on loan in January transfer window, or do you think we'll just stick with Højlund and Martial when you return from this unnamed illness? Which, obviously, again, read out a bit of news about Jared Brentwaite, Talk Sports. So again, like I say in all videos, you got to take it with a pinch of salt or loads of salt, because Talk Sport, whether they're kind of, the most reliable in the world. But supposedly Jared Brentwaite is high on Man United's list for a summer transfer window, and everything could be forced to sell him to avoid running into further financial issues. Now, like I said, Double A, it is Talk Sport, so you can look at that and think, oh, we might actually bring him in, or it's Talk Sport.
Yeah.
What we're saying, I mean, obviously, Leach is back, Maguire, I'm not sure when he's going to be back. We don't have a lot of defenders, defenders that kind of turn to age. I think Martinez probably being the youngest out of the bunch.
Yeah.
Again, Brentwaite, you having a good season this season with Everton. Would he be your cup of tea?
I think he's definitely an interesting player. Again, he's showing, how good he is in a team like Everton. Obviously hit with that 10-point deduction, come back from that, and then look like I'm gonna get another one. Seems to be really finding his feet in that team. Sean Dyche has actually gotten playing some good, decent football. Apparently with Jim Ratcliffe, it's going to be a British core, whatever that means. I don't, why do we need a British core? We've had one before: McTominay, Maguire, Rashford, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Sancho, and it's not worked. If England were winning World Cups and Euros, go and get a British core, but they're not. So I don't understand this need for British players only. But he's a good young player. I think there is better players out there. Will they want? I know they may be forced to sell a few players, so we could get potentially a good deal. And I know that United actually wanted to send Hannibal on loan to Everton to keep that good relationship in case they could get Branthwaite or even Onana. Obviously, he's chosen to go to Sevilla, but I think of the options out there, I know he's a left-footed centre-back as well. But I think, was it Fabrizio Romano said we potentially could be getting 2 centre-backs in the summer. You got to think probably Maguire will go because I don't see him getting back in the team. The back end of the season, and that could really push his his Euro spot. Who knows? So I think he really does have to look at leaving the club. Varane still up in the air if he'll be looking to leave in the summer. More offers from Saudi, and I know we've extended Lindelof for a year, but I probably expect him to go as well. So of those three, I'd keep Varane, and then you bring two in, and a lot of talk of Todibo, and then I couldn't imagine us going and getting Todibo and Antonio Silva. I couldn't see us doing two big European centre backs really. So it probably would be a Branthwaite, and it probably would be something that we involve a player, keep that good relationship, send them a player either on loan or in a swap deal. But yeah, someone's saying there we don't need a centre back. We absolutely do, mate. I think you can't be relying on Maguire and Lindelof as your backups. They're not good enough. And as much as people want to force down the throat that Maguire's played well this season, he's played okay. Let's not pretend he's been in like the top 6, even top 10 centre backs in the league, because he hasn't. He's just done okay when we've needed him. Still not top quality centre back. Still not good enough. And when Varane and Martinez are fit, I think he's holding the bench again. I think even Evans has been better than in this season. So we definitely need one or two centre backs. We need to get rid of the older, the top end. Maguire's pushing 30, or is 30. Varane's 30. Lindelof's not far behind. So getting those younger ones in, one or two younger ones, and then having that nice balance. Keep Varane for the experience. Todibo, 23, 24. Another 20, 23, 24-year-old, or a couple of years younger than Martinez, 25. That's a nice spread of centre-backs who can be around the club for a good number of years. We've got Kumbuala as well. They're starting to show himself in the squad. And then you've got, maybe he goes out on a loan next season, and that's another one for the future, hopefully. So definitely like the look of Branthwaite. I think there's a couple of names I'd have ahead of him, though, if he was going to be, if you're asking me for my first choice centre-back for the summer, though.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, I mean, of the ones we've been linked to, who would be the one you look at and say, yeah, give me him? I mean, obviously, Todibo's kind of been the name I've heard about a lot more than Branthwaite, and there's someone else we were interested in as well. I forget his name, but we have been interested in a few. Which one would you look at and say, I'll happily take him?
Yeah, there's been quite a few. I mean, of the ones. So for the ones I remember, obviously there was Totsoba, wasn't there? Which I don't really, not a massive fan of him, so I probably won't go for him. Scalvini as well from Atalanta, another good young centre back. But I don't see that one something Manchester United would do. De Ligt's been mentioned today as well, but I mean, it's just a Dutch Maguire for me. I don't think he was good for a couple of number of years, but Juventus and Bayern have shown kind of if we want to progress, he's not someone that we should be looking at.
Yeah.
So I mean, Antonio Silva for me probably would be the one. I think he's that Benfica sort of pedigree. They are really turning out some fantastic talent. Benfica last couple of years, potential to follow in Ruben Diaz's footsteps. And he's going to turn that down. Not me. I'll tell you that for now. Sorry. So, yeah, I think of all the ones we've been linked with, Antonio Silva would definitely be the one for me that I would look to go for.
Yeah, I agree. Still young as well. So, yeah, it's still... I mean, imagine, centre-back partnership of Sandro Martinez and Antonio Silva. I mean, look, they're two quick, young centre-backs. I mean, you can't complain, can you?
No.
Todibo, I mean, honestly, Tottenham not bring to him. I wouldn't be surprised if he even goes to Tottenham, but they brought in Dragoshin, so they may not look at, Todibo anymore. Comments, obviously, you obviously don't need centre-back. We do. MFC Global said the summer would be massive for the club. But definitely, I mean, hopefully we, can sign a few players and get rid of a few players as well. What else did he say? A lot of business. Outgoings and incomings. He's also said, which, big call, but he is a good player. We've got a £150 million player in Kobe Mainoo. I mean, Kobe Mainoo, double A, has definitely been brilliant so far this season.
Oh, mate, absolutely fantastic. Anyone who's watched the sort of youth set up for the last couple of years, I've known about Kobe, and definitely one we always wanted to progress. And I think last season he kind of overtook Zidane Iqbal. Everyone was talking about Zidane Iqbal in the preseason before. He went. It was the Australia and Asia and stuff, and he had a good couple of performances. Him and Charlie Savage, and everyone was talking about them too. And then Iqbal was within the first team, and all of a sudden Kobbie had overtaken him, and he's proven that. And I think the preseason just gone. I really do think Ten Hag had plans to start him from the very, very beginning. Him and Casemiro were playing a lot of the games. I remember him playing absolutely amazing against Arsenal in that preseason game over in America. He was unbelievable in the first half, especially. And it was just such a shame he got injured, because I think he would have started the season for us. And I'm so happy he's come back and proved, he's got some unreal talent. And I only expect him to get better and better. He does need help. We do need some more midfielders, and I'm looking forward to Casemiro getting back into the team. And hopefully it's Casemiro, Kobbie, and Bruno as a sort of midfield three going forward, because I think those three have a nice balance of everything and can only help each other. So, yeah, Kobbie's been, of a season that's been full of lows. Kobbie's been, him and Garnacho, you probably say in moments, have been, massive highs for us this season.
Definitely a big fan of Kobbie Mainoo. I don't really think he's put a foot wrong since he's sort of came back from injury. Shame, obviously that injury he got in pre-season was a bit of a shame. And then obviously Amal Diallo also got injury. Hopefully he can hit the ground running when he's back in the squad, because he came back and then he's been out for the last 2 games, which has been 2 or 3 games. Antonio Silva would be fantastic to dream Portuguese. I'm going to try and get this right. I want to transfer Benzema, Kimmich to Liverpool United is better for 2024. I'm not sure that says I lacked or love Benzema, Elise, Kimmich, but I mean Kimmich, I don't think we'll ever bring him in. Would you take Benzema for a 6-month loan? Yeah. I mean, Double A, you said same thing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Benzema on a 6-month loan is not a bad deal. This is a big one. I think we should loan Garnacho. I mean, that's a big call, Double A.
I mean, I get what some people are saying. Obviously, some people think he's not right. He's not good enough to start, and I agree with that. He's still a 19-year-old kid. Again, it's another player we're expecting too much from, because the players above him, them seasoned professionals, the experienced players, aren't doing what he is doing. But he can't do it on a consistent basis because he's still 19 years old. Yes, he may be an absolutely world-class player in the future, but right now, we should really be handling with kid gloves, playing maybe 1 or 2 games and sitting on the bench and learning from the bench how to manipulate situations. Look, the best person to talk about that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He'd sit and watch the game, and he'd watch and think, right, I know if I get here, I can score. If I get a chance. And he's working out situations in his head, how the game's going to go. Young players need to do that and sit on the bench and even talk to coaches while on the bench about, listen, we know you love to do that. Look how they're playing this way. You can do that. And, sometimes you can't do that when you're playing every game and you're not learning right because you're just doing the same things over and over again. And sometimes Garnacho does that. Yes, I like him. This whole, a lot of United fans after Sunday on some of the shows I was doing, really going in on him. Say, he's not good enough. He's this, he's that. He just thinks because he acts like Ronaldo, he thinks he's it. That's not the case. And sadly, that's where the Manchester United fan base are at the moment, because things are going so bad. And it's invariably always the young players that get the stick. Højlund and Garnacho are both kind of getting that. And I think if Kobbie was to have a couple of games where he didn't play great, he'd get the same thing again. And unfortunately, that's what happens with young kids. But there's no way on earth I would loan Garnacho out. The kid's got absolute unreal talent, and I only expect him to go further and further in the Manchester United team and establish himself. He's keeping Rashford out of the team, or he was doing a couple of weeks ago. So, the manager clearly rates him, and a lot of the fan base love him, and the club love him. So, yeah, let's keep him. Let's not loan him anywhere. That's not a great one for me.
Yeah, I agree. Garnacho cannot be loaned out. He's confident, mature, can take on defenders and all. Where I think he needs to work on is his decision making in the final third. Yeah, exactly. Well said. In UFC Global, someone says I want to transfer Benzema. Kimmich is not a good player. Yeah, Anthony Martial out, Benzema and Elise in, and a lot of Elise. I mean, yesterday I done a video about him because was it yesterday before last? Personally, I don't think I just can't see us bringing him in. To be brutally honest, I think for which amount I said we'd be in there in the race, but I don't know. I mean, if you get Liverpool or whatever coming in for him, which I think they have, he's going to go to Liverpool.
Yeah, sadly, where we are, probably definitely no Champions League. I don't think, and they could probably offer him that, and it's one of them. I know we're talking about maybe sending Wan-Bissaka back to Crystal Palace in any deal that we do for him. I really like him. I think he's proved that he's a very good Premier League player. Obviously, very very young still, and one that would excite the Old Trafford crowd. That if we were to bring him in, that to me means, Pellistri probably will leave. He's looking like a loan, probably a potential permanent transfer, which is quite sad. And then for me, Anthony's not going anywhere. We know that. Garnacho's not going anywhere. Rashford's not going anywhere. Ahmad hopefully ain't going anywhere. So it probably means Sancho's going if we're going to bring in another wide player. But I just think again, he's a player that will go to an Arsenal. He would go to a Chelsea. He would go to a Liverpool and absolutely tear it up. And then we're all going, why did we not go for him? But when it's us that are in for him, it's always, oh no, it might not be great. Oh no, it might be bad. Like no, big clubs take if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Not every transfer can, but I think it's a signing that Manchester United have to look to do because he's a talent. He's a great player. We've seen that, and he scored against us. We just need to bite the bullet and go for it for once.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, it'd be interesting to see what does happen with him. MFC Global agrees, says spot on AA. Another comment. Again, I'm not reading out this person's name for reasons. Just, yeah, I'm sure you know AA. At least say it will be a bad investment. I mean, look, who knows? Again, you never know what Manchester United. We may bring him in and he may absolutely light the world on fire, but I make him a flop. Like MFC Global says there, Elise could be a gamble, don't you think? I think of Elise, all I see is a flopped Zaha. Obviously, he's talking about the Zaha. I'm just, look, it'd be interesting to see what does happen. Obviously, Pellistri looks set to be going out to Granada. I mean, look, what obviously before we move in and talk a bit about Ten Hag and then all that stuff, Pellistri, I mean, I think he could be a good player, but again, a lot to work on as well. But what do you think of him? Looks set to be heading to Granada.
Yeah, it's a shame, and it's clearly coming from Ten Hag not rating him, I think, and so United fans screaming for him to get a few more minutes. Because for me, he's the only winger we have that's actually a winger. The rest are all forward players. Rashford is neither a winger or a striker. Garnacho is just an inside forward, as they call him. Anthony's the same, whereas Pellistri is the only one that likes to. He plays on the right side with his right foot. Every other player we normally have that play on the wide are always cutting into the stronger foot. He gets to the byline. He wants to put the ball into the box. He wants to actually create. He's the only one that looks like he wants to create for other players as well. So, he has a lot of attributes that we don't have with other wide players and attacking players. Last season, he impressed me every time he came on. He didn't look like he did anything wrong in a lot of the minutes he got. He's not really played a lot this season. I actually think Ten Hag's hung him out to dry a little bit this season and probably knocks his confidence. I think, we trusted him to start against Bayern Munich in the Champions League at the Allianz, which is, a big moment for any player, and not really ever seen him since, and I don't think he had a bad game. It's, it's a tough one to go to, especially up against Alphonso Davies, you know what I mean? One of the best left backs in the world. And for me, there's a lot of talent there, and it just needs that honing and that trust and belief. And, you know, Uruguay, they're not the best national team in the world, but they're not mugs. They're every World Cup. They compete in every Copa America. And he starts from every single international break. He played in the last couple against Brazil when he beat Brazil, and the game after that, and he set up Darwin Nunez, clearly trusted by the manager of Uruguay. And I just wish we had the same trust in him, because I think there's definitely a player there. We've just not utilised him or trusted him enough to put him on the pitch. When a lot of our players that play wide are bad and playing really, really bad.
Yeah, exactly, spot on. I mean, look, I think there is a player there, but look, it is a shame to see him go. I mean, look at Hannibal, who I thought, could have been a good player. Again, he's only gone out on loan, but I thought, he could be a good player for us. Again, will he come back? Will he not come back? It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Depending on how his loan spell goes. If he goes to Sevilla and he does brilliant, they may want to can we buy him? And if he does bad, he'll be back to Manchester United again.
I think personally, I think he'll be back. I don't think, I'm sure they won't spend 20 million on one player. From what I know, the fighting relegation, the 17th in La Liga. I think they barely touched 35 million euros on a number of players in the summer. I can't see him spending 20 million euros on one player. So I think he might be back, Hannibal. And I think something else Fabrizio said, I think that United are 99% sure he'll come back. And listen, I would have preferred him to go to Everton. I think, like I say, keep him in the Premier League. If we are going to keep him, if you're 99% sure he's coming back, send him to the Premier League. Let him get some minutes under Sean Dyche, who will help him. Again, I think he's another player that's been thrown under the bus by Ten Hag. And, he was starting games for him. Started against Galatasaray in the Champions League. Got hauled off at half-time, and I don't think he was the worst player. I think Eriksen was worse than him in that game. Gets dragged off. The next game, you think, right, so he's clearly in the manager's thoughts now. He's playing games. He's playing minutes. He played great against Crystal Palace with Mount in the League Cup. Not so well against Newcastle when we got knocked out, but before that, obviously, so he's clearly in the manager's thoughts at this point after the Galatasaray game. The next game's the Brentford game, doesn't come on, and that's when McTominay gets them 2 goals, and all of a sudden, McTominay can't be taken out of the team now, and it's probably he's knocked his confidence from that. You think the manager's trusting me, I'm in the first team, getting minutes, don't have a great game, but don't have a bad game, and then I'm nowhere near the first team again. And yeah, it's poor managing of young players, that for me a little bit with Hannibal. And I like him, like you. I think there is definitely, again, there's something there, and it just needs fine tuning and honing. And I think Sean Dyche definitely could have done that for him at Everton, especially in the Premier League as well. But he's gone to La Liga, and we'll just have to see how he does there for the next couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to. He doesn't seem to be in the plans of Ten Hag, because, like you said there, and I agree with you. We should have sent him on loan to Everton, because it's in the Premier League. He can learn more. Sean Dyche can help him. Again, I really do agree with you on that one. I mean, look, does Sevilla just want to leave Manchester United for Hannibal want to leave? Man United for good now. Does he don't seem to be getting game time? Does he want to kind of get more game time and move up? I mean, who knows? But again, Romano said, 99.9% sure that he'd be back. So again, is he? Obviously, I thought the games he played in this season, apart from 1 or 2, I thought he's done well in. He's still a young player. He's not going to quit and be like Bruno Fernandes and ping balls left, front, and centre. Again, Bruno hasn't been great this season either. But I'm trying to come from. He's just not that type of player, but he could be. But again, it is what it is. But I do hope he does very well though at his loan at Sevilla.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll wish him all the best on that. But yeah, it's just another young talent. We've kind of just seemed to be getting rid of all the young talent now, and can't get rid of the deadwood, which we should be doing. But it's just where we find ourselves, sadly.
Exactly. Someone says Pellistri is a good player. Obviously, just back when we talked about Pellistri, he's a good ball carrier like Bernardo Silva. MFC Global says, I think it's the best decision for Pellistri to go out on loan. Amart, Garnacho, Anthony, and even Mount are ahead of him. It would be interesting to see what happens to Pellistri in the summer. I definitely will. But look, we'll end, whether it's on a positive or negative. Ten Hag. I mean, look, whether it's a topic people want to discuss, we'll jump in. Where again, this, people's, if you're Ten Hag in, Ten Hag out, that could change come, I don't know, February, March. What's kind of your stance with Eric Ten Hag at the moment?
So he's the manager that I wanted. When Ollie went, he was screaming for this man. Like, there was him and Luis Enrique, another one that I was a big fan of. Zidane obviously was getting mentioned, but obviously we know doesn't want to come to the Premier League. He was the man. He was the man that a lot of Manchester United fans wanted. It was even the case of, if you believe the rumours that United were all set for Poch until they were looking at social media and realised the fan base didn't want Poch and they wanted Ten Hag. This was the guy that was touted as the next big thing. There's rumours, he had an interview, obviously Tottenham, it didn't go well. There was rumours that Liverpool had eyes on him as a replacement for Klopp potentially. Pep as well at City, replacement for him. He's the manager everyone wanted, and he come in and last season, people say he overachieved, and everyone's like, well, how can he overachieve? But what we mean by that is he took a squad that was at the absolute bottom of the barrel, the depths, worst ever performing Premier League team in Manchester United's history, and he turned the club around. He turned the team around. Third, one trophy and another final, and close to a third final in the Europa League. What's gone wrong? It's gone wrong this season, and the wheels have really fallen off, and he's not helping himself, and that's where you can be critical of the manager without wanting him sacked. And I'm very critical of the manager because at the moment for me he's making far too many mistakes, far too many wrong decisions. His in-game management really does suck, and he's saying a lot of the wrong things for me, doubling down on stuff. And I think I don't want him to be sacked, but I do think that he's kind of come to the end of the road. I don't think he can turn it around. I really don't think, personally for me, from looking at it, and I was having not an argument, but Twitter space with Beth from the United Stand, and I was saying I don't think these players are truly behind him. I don't think they're fully committed to him, to his ideology or style of play, whatever you want to call it. I just think that, especially Rashford, talks about the body language of Rashford. He's done. He's checked out for me, and it's multi-layered how I go about how we improve it or how we change everything, and so a lot of it relies on this. So Jim Ratcliffe coming in and sorting out this football structure, getting a proper CEO, getting a sporting director, whether that's one or two, and we have this proper football structure. And what they have to decide is Ten Hag the man, and if Ten Hag is the man, we then look at identifying a club identity, first of all, players that then fit that profile and identity with the right attitude, right application, and talent ID, obviously. And then they back him, and then they sit down and they make a plan for the summer. Obviously, we've got the Euros. It's very vitally important. As soon as this deal's done, this is what Manchester United need to do. But personally, I think I just don't think he can claw it back. I just think it's too far gone now. You've got the Sancho situation, and the tide is turning on him. And it reminds me a lot probably about the same time last year when the tide was turning on De Gea and everyone wanted De Gea out. And I think, someone saying there Ten Hag is because of his favoritism, his stubbornness, dying on this Anthony Hill, he's only going to get in the sack, I think. And, giving him excuses for why he's not playing well, although they may be valid. Sometimes, just try and do better, just try and make better decisions. And we've got players there that can come in and do a job, and you need to use your squad rather than these 13, 14 players all the time. So what I would personally do now, if I was Jim Ratcliffe and I'm bringing in these football people, if Ten Hag's not your man, as soon as your the deal's gone through and the ink is dried, you identify the manager you want now, and then you either speak to them, you get it set up, and you work towards how they come in straight away into the summer. Let Ten Hag go in the summer, and it's the same what I said to Ten Hag: club identity, players that fit that, and then you build a plan for this manager to come in, a seamless maneuver into the club. And then we build with this manager for you say 2-3 seasons, but we know if the first season's bad, he's on borrowed time. A lot of look at what we did with Van Gaal. Won the FA Cup. The next day he was sacked because he'd already got Jose lined up. The best example of it is Pep Guardiola at City. They were talking and bringing the people in for Pep when Pellegrini was winning league titles. They properly planned for their next move for who is the best manager in the world currently. That's what Manchester United need to do. This is a project now that needs to start. We've already done nearly 2 years of a project that's clearly not working. We can't keep doing this every 2 years. So the next man has to be a man that they fully get backed and fully get behind. And they all working towards one common goal in making Manchester United not all great again or winning titles, but competitive and an environment that players of an elite level want to come and play for the football club. So my answer is I want the football structure that's meant to be coming in to identify who their man is. I've got names, Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. I'd take Thomas Tuchel. I'd have him come in. What I don't want is Graham Potter. I definitely don't want a name like that at the club. So, but whoever it is, they have to identify and build around him. And then the structure going forward has to all pull in the same direction, wanting the same common goal of Manchester United competing and hopefully winning big trophies again.
Exactly. Just quickly, Man United will play Newport.
Newport up one. Cool.
Yeah. Gonna be a tough one. Look, I mean, obviously, again, I have people commenting because I still want them to stay because I do. Again, Willie, can he turn it around now? I mean, it's like you said, it's not looking likely. Unfortunately, again, like you said as well, Ten Hag, you want them to come in. I did as well. Yeah. I think when we first appointed him, I think I watched Ajax play since, and I was like, I like this. This could be us. And I don't think. I mean, even Ten Hag said it himself, something like, I can't play the football I did at Ajax at Manchester United. So again, I mean, Ten Hag is a good manager, but just again, if like last season, we thought, this is the man. This is the man to get us back to the top, or back to some sort of top Manchester United again. And then this season it just went downhill. I mean, look, would I be surprised if he sacked before the summer or as soon as the summer comes? No, I wouldn't be. I mean, will we finish in the top 4? Unfortunately, I just don't think we will. That's my opinion. I still want them out there. You get people asking, why do you want why do you not want Ten Hag out? I always say, stubbornness kind of pisses me off more than the results. I'll be honest with you, it's stubbornness. Yeah. Like no disrespect, but McTominay. Yeah, McTominay's height there. He scored a few goals for the season, but I don't know what he sees in him.
No.
Like you look at players like maybe Rashford. Should he be dropped again? It seemed like Keane said something about Højlund. Like he should be dropped because of his performances. Again, that's Onana. Should he be dropped because of his recent performances? Should he? Just his favouritism there, and that pisses me off more than, and that'd want me to get that'd actually bring me to wanting them out more than the results. So that might sound crazy, but that's just what I think. And again, some of the signings I do question. Mount. I mean, I don't get that. Obviously, we signed Anthony. The summer Ten Hag came in.
Yeah.
Højlund, again, I wouldn't say I was up for us, but let's see how it goes. Onana, I was like, Onana, ball playing keeper, all this and that hasn't worked out. Johnny Evans wouldn't really call it a signing. Ricky on obviously brought in a loan. I feel like I'm missing one more player, to be honest. I'm probably not, but I just some of it I don't get, and I just feel like he's just starting to lose it. I don't even think Ten Hag knows what he wants.
Amrabat was the one you've missed. Again, not worked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I tell you, I won't sack him now. I give him to the end of the season, is because what we don't want to do in a summer with Euros is you don't want Jim Radcliffe's first major decision to be appointing a manager. I think you don't want to be sacking him and then appointing someone, because we need to get it right. We've had too many bad appointments now, and Sam from United Stand was saying today to me, he's like, yeah, but Chelsea did it with two. They got rid of Lampard, got Tuchel, obviously won the Champions League. So, but yeah, look at them now. Like, they've not done anything since. They had Lampard to come back. Now they got Potter, who isn't doing too well. You can't plan enough. Just take a bit of time. 5 months now. Take some time to plan and see who is going to be the man to take us forward. If it's Ten Hag, get behind him. If not, get the man, identify the man you want now, and then let's move forward with him for the summer. Bring him in the summer. If it means an interim, if Ten Hag's like, well, I'm going, so I'll go now, that's absolutely fine. But he won't, because he knows, he won't. If he leaves, he ain't going to get his compensation, is he? So if you say to him, listen, we'll give you to the end of the summer, and then we're looking to make a change, he's more likely to do that if he's going to get a nice compensation package. But yeah, I think we just need to plan and listen, whether Ten Hag's the man or not, I think it's vital that we just give him, for me, give him to the end of the summer. He at least deserves that after last season, unless the wheels really fall off. I know we've got some tricky fixtures, and it could be a case of, I feel like within the fan base and within sort of the feeling towards him, it's getting almost Moyes level now. And if it gets to the point where we're mathematically out of getting Champions League, we could see something similar, where Moyes got sacked after that happened. So, listen, nothing surprised me with Manchester United, and we could get knocked out by Newport and he gets sacked the next day. So that very well could happen. But for me, yeah, I wouldn't sack him now. Give him to the end of the season. And if he's the man to take us forward, fine. If not, let's plan and get the right man in.
Yeah, I agree. I just personally, I just don't want them to get sacked. But again, if the wheels fall off, get them gone. I mean, you know how desperate some United fans don't want them to get away. Obviously, Mourinho got sacked, and they're like, "Bring back Mourinho." I mean,
yeah.
I even like, do you even have a brain? I mean, again, like I said, I was watching you on CTV today and a few other lads, and you were speaking about that manager at Sporting. Amarin, yeah. And I mean, look, maybe that's the manager we need. Look at Ant Postecoglou. I mean, I personally, when Tottenham signed him, I thought, nah, he'd be sacked by Christmas, and he's done a good job. You know what I mean? So, is that someone we need, like an Amarin? Maybe. Again, like you said, I don't want Graham Potter. No, I mean, look, if Zinedine Zidane wanted the job, I'd be like, fair enough, he's there. But I don't know. I just don't want, players. I mean, I think Mark Goldberg has even said, he doesn't want, the players to get the better of the manager again.
Yeah, it's true.
And I agree with that. I do agree with that. So again, I wouldn't want that either. And again, I'd get people commenting, why you want Ten Hag, why do you want me, yada. But it's not that. I just, what I seen last season, I feel like we can be like that. But I mean, look, maybe we just need the summer heat again. It may be like Van Gaal all over again, like you said, win the FA Cup, or maybe not, and then he's gone. But again, it will be interesting to see what happens with Erik Ten Hag. Again, he may turn it around. It's not, look, it may just be kind of, get to the season, keep him there, and see what happens. I mean, he could be still here this time next year, double A. No one knows.
No.
But again, it would be interesting to see. I mean, look, like I said, Mourinho, no. Graham Potter, no. I feel like there's a few others that I'd say no to.
Yeah.
There's
not a massive scope of managers out there, really, to be fair.
I mean, if you're going to bring in a manager, you're going to have to go to like a Sporting, who have Amarin or whatever, and pay. And do you much just not want to do that? Probably not.
No, and they're not going to do it now. They're not going to do it in the middle of the season. They'll wait and agree on a package with a club. They ain't going to go and spend, maybe 30 million paying Ten Hag and paying a new manager's compensation. Do you know what I mean? So it's a wait and see thing. But it's silly to even, I think, speculate about a new manager until we see what's happening with Jim Radcliffe. We need to sort of understand his vision and what's going to happen with that before we start really talking about new managers and stuff like that.
Exactly. I just personally, I don't want to be back with bringing in an interim manager. Wait until the summer. I don't want that. Them days should be, I don't want them days to return. Just like get Ten Hag to the summer and then sit down, talk. Because then you have a lot more longer to discuss, see what you're going to do, see what Ten Hag wants to do. See, can he turn it around? It will be interesting to see what happens between now and the summer. But I feel like if you do sack him now, I think it'd be ridiculous because of, you're going to pay me to sack him and then you have to bring in an interim or, Darren Fletcher maybe will have to take over. And I don't think anyone would want that.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be any Michael Carrick who took over 3 or 4 games and, we were unbeaten. But look, it will be interesting to see what happens between now and the summer. But hopefully, we can turn it around. But, listen, if we win the FA Cup, some maybe think, all right, fair enough. But, look, it's a big ask. But all we can do is wait and see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That's kind of the thing. As fans, we're kind of just the last to know. And hopefully it's a positive resolution, whatever happens. But, yeah, the main thing is now it's starting to get some wins and some good performances because that's what we're all crying out for.
Yeah, and hopefully the injury return and can help us big time as well. Because it was really nice to see Leach back. He got a good nutmeg in there, Dundial. I just love Leach. I think he's cheeky, but that's why we love him. That's why we love him. But look, Double A, I really appreciate you coming on. It was a brilliant show. Really, really do highly appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you to you and the community for letting me come on, mate, and have a chat. I've enjoyed it. So yeah, thanks to you and anyone watching. Make sure you're liking the video for Dean. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Brilliant free content that you get here on the United Way. So make sure you're supporting him. Absolutely.
Absolute legend. And again, follow Double A's socials here in the description. Get over to, get onto his YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I think there's a few others. Are you on a few others as well that I can maybe put?
Mate, I'm pretty much everywhere, to be fair. So yeah, any social on there, TikTok, everywhere like that. Yeah, so.
Yeah, because again, you see him, not just on his own channel, but it stand, TV, and I'm sure you're on a few others as well.
Yeah, it seems
you're kind of everywhere, as well. But look, Double A, you've been brilliant. Nice to have you on. I really hope to have you on again soon, and maybe if in the future, maybe I can maybe hop on your channel, or we can just get a bit more of a good this, because I really did enjoy it, and it'd be nice to keep this kind of what you call collab relationship, whatever it is, going.
Definitely, mate. Absolutely. Up for it.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy, for watching. Please, like I said, go and support Double A, top man. I'm sure you'll see him outside Old Trafford for the next few games. I was actually over there not too long ago as well when we played Luton.
Nice.
Yeah, I was dying with a cold, but look, I still sang my heart out. Well, look, I'll definitely get over again soon. But again, thanks, buddy, for watching. I'm not sure whether the news round, the pre-recorded video will be out tonight. But if it is, it'll be out pretty late. But join us tomorrow, back again. And again, Double A, like I said, legend as always. Thanks, buddy, for watching. Like the video, comment, subscribe, follow Double A, and we'll speak to you all on the next one. Good night, and see you all tomorrow.